You're not depressed. Stop saying that. Stop lying to yourself. You're not broken, you're not doomed, and you're not cursed by some mysterious village witch or chemical imbalance in the universe. You're just living a bullshit life. And if you're honest for once in your life, you already know that. Think about how you wake up. You don't rise with energy or with a purpose. You hit the snooze button 3, 4, 5. Heck, some even do it for 10 times before they can drag themselves out of bed. If you do that, you already start your day with procrastination, and your bed owns you before the world even does. When you finally drag yourself up, what's the very first thing you touch? Let's be honest here. Most of us always go for the phone. We are living in the fear of missing out, so we start scrolling. Scroll, 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 and before you've even taken a proper breath, you've already handed your brain and energy over to other people's bullshit online. News, drama, fake lives on Instagram, memes, TikToks. And then you start to wonder why your head feels foggy, why you're anxious, why you're drained before you've even started your day. That's not what is called depression. In my books, that is called self-sabotage. You don't need therapy for that or some expensive bullshit meditation retreat to heal your chi, as many people call it. I call it a senseless waste of money, and I do not have anything against retreat centers. Matter of fact, I think everyone needs to take a well-deserved retreat now and then to recharge. I'm against the lazy people who think there is a miracle waiting to happen that will change their lives. What you need is discipline, and you do not even need to push yourself too much. Consider this. Before sleeping the previous night, take your phone and put it in another room or somewhere far from your bed. When the alarm goes off, the snooze option will not be available, and you will need to wake up and own your mind instead of polluting it with the algorithm before breakfast. But you won't follow this advice, will you? Because you're lazy, addicted, and entitled. And instead of calling it what it is, addiction, you wrap it up in a pretty word, mental health. If you plan to follow through, good for you. Let's explore more about other things that are making you live a tiny, depressed, and bullshit life. You hate your job. Every time Monday comes, you start feeling as if someone asked you to sit on a sharp nail. You live for Fridays, and your entire life is one long countdown from weekend to weekend, from vacation to vacation, from retirement to retirement. You sit at a desk or stand in a place that drains you, where your soul is on life support, and you do it day after day because you're scared. You are scared that if you quit, you do not have enough savings to last a month. You are scared to start something else because you do not want to risk failing. So you tolerate your terrible job, terrible bosses and colleagues because you feel that you have a sense of responsibility. But deep down inside of you, there is a fire trying to burn, and you are busy trying to put it off because the future looks and sounds too scary for you. Responsibility doesn't mean slaving away at a job you hate while your life drips away in fluorescent-lit offices and meaningless tasks. Responsibility means building a life worth living, even if it's hard. Responsibility means providing for yourself and your family in a way that doesn't destroy you inside. Responsibility means standing up and saying, "This isn't enough. I need to do more. I need to be more." But you won't do that because it's easier to complain and easier to say, "I'm depressed," while putting in countless hours in a thankless job that you hate but cannot quit. Let's talk about your habits. You eat garbage. Fast food, frozen dinners, endless bags of chips, and soda like it's water. You fuel your body with chemicals and processed junk, and then wonder why you have no energy, no motivation, and no clarity. You spend your weekends drinking yourself stupid, smoking, or vaping your lungs away, and you call it relaxing. You stay up until 2 a.m. watching shows you don't even care about, and you call it unwinding. You waste hours on TikTok and YouTube watching people who are actually building something while you rot in your chair, and you call it entertainment. And then, when your body feels like shit, when your brain feels like mush, when your life feels empty, you blame depression. Stop. It's not depression. It's your lifestyle. You're digging your own hole with 1,000 tiny decisions every single day, and then acting surprised when you can't climb out. That's not a disorder, but the predictable result of living like a zombie. You don't move. For some reason, you hate exercise. You don't push your body at all, but you are great at complaining about being tired all the time. You think energy is something you're supposed to have for free, like the universe owes it to you. Energy is earned. You don't get that by sitting around scrolling or sleeping in or eating crap. You get it by sweating, by pushing, by training your body and your mind to be better than yesterday. But you don't want that. You don't want sweat or struggle. You don't want discomfort. You want an easy, comfortable life. You want the soft couch, the fast food, the endless scrolling, the short dopamine hits. And guess what? That's exactly why you feel like shit. Your comfort is killing you. Seeking comfort is not bad since we all want an easy life, but we have to earn it first, and that means getting a bit uncomfortable at first. Deep down, you know your life is bullshit. You know you're wasting time, your habits suck, and you know you're addicted to distractions. You know your job is draining the life out of you. You know your potential is being buried under excuses. You know all of it, and still, you'd rather slap the label depression on it so you don't have to take responsibility. Because responsibility means you'd have to change, and it's scary. Change means quitting the job you hate, saying no to your old vices, and putting the damn phone away. Change means sweating, failing, risking, learning, struggling, and becoming someone your old self wouldn't even recognize. And that terrifies you. So instead of changing, you complain. You distract yourself, beg for sympathy, and hide behind the word depression like it's a shield. Your life is empty. You build a life that strips you of meaning, and then you have the audacity to act like you don't understand why you feel hollow. Of course you feel hollow. Look at how you live. Look at how you spend your time. Look at how much of your life is owned by things and people that give you nothing in return. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you binge, you scroll, you sleep, repeat. That's your cycle. That's your existence. You're not living, you're looping. You've reduced your life to a set of automated behaviors, and you wonder why it feels like Groundhog Day. Let's talk about that job again, because this one burns people the most. You don't just hate it, it's killing you inside. Every day you're handing over your most valuable resource, your time, to something that doesn't matter. You're trading the only life you'll ever have for a paycheck that vanishes the moment it lands in your account. You know it doesn't fulfill you. You know it doesn't challenge you. You know it doesn't excite you, and yet you stay because you've convinced yourself that you have no choice. But that's a lie. You always have a choice. The truth is, you're afraid of going broke and are afraid of failing. So you settle for misery, and then you dress it up by saying, well, this is just how life is. Number. That's how your life is. Because that's what you chose. And don't come at me with, you don't understand my situation. I don't need to. Because no matter how bad your situation is, you always have agency. You always have choices. You may not be able to quit your job today, but you can plan your exit. You may not be able to build a business overnight, but you can learn skills. You may not be able to escape your environment immediately, but you can take steps to change it. The problem is, you don't want to take those steps. You surround yourself with people who make you worse. Half of your so-called friends are dead weight. They don't push you, challenge you, or inspire you. They just sit around gossiping, drinking, wasting time, and you join them because it feels comfortable. Because being around people who expect nothing of you makes it easy to expect nothing of yourself. You know what happens when you surround yourself with losers? You become one. You absorb their habits, their energy, and their mindset, and then you justify it by saying, well, I don't want to be alone. Let me tell you something. Being alone is better than being surrounded by people who are slowly drowning you. You can grow, learn, and reinvent yourself alone. Let's dig into your body for a second. Look at yourself. Be honest. Are you proud of the way you treat your body? Do you even respect it? Or have you turned it into a trash can for processed food, alcohol, nicotine, and late-night binge sessions? You treat your body like it's disposable, and then you're shocked when it rebels against you with fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, and low energy. That's not depression, that's neglect. You don't need a therapist for that. You need a gym membership. You need a pair of running shoes. You need a damn push-up routine. You need to sweat. Because when you sweat, you remember what it feels like to be alive. You remember what it feels like to earn your energy. Not just consume it, But you'd rather whine about being tired than fix the one thing in your control, your health. And it's not just physical, it's mental. You don't feed your mind either. When was the last time you read a book? Something that forces you to think and confront new ideas. Something that gives you wisdom instead of brain rot. You don't read because reading is hard. You don't learn because learning is uncomfortable. You don't think because thinking hurts. Instead, you drown in endless entertainment. Shows, memes, gossip, podcasts that rot your brain instead of sharpening it. How much longer are you going to tolerate this? How many more mornings are you going to wake up hating your life? How many more nights are you going to fall asleep feeling empty? How many more years are you going to let slip by before you admit that you're not depressed? You're just choosing the path of least resistance, and it's killing you slowly? Let's talk about meaning, because this is the part nobody wants to admit. Most of you don't have any. You wake up, you exist, you kill time, and you go back to sleep. That's not living. That's waiting to die. And you wonder why you feel like something's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. Something's wrong with the fact that you've built a life with zero purpose. Purpose isn't complicated. It's not some mystical, spiritual riddle you're supposed to solve at 40 after a midlife crisis. Purpose is simple. It's having something worth fighting for, something worth waking up for, something that makes you proud when you go to bed. But what do you fight for? Your Netflix queue? Your Uber Eats orders? Your Snapchat streaks? No wonder you're empty. Humans were not designed to live for comfort. We weren't designed to live for distraction. We were designed to grow, to push, to struggle, to build, to protect, to create. You take that away and of course you feel miserable. It's like keeping a lion in a cage and wondering why it's pacing back and forth. Depressed. You're not depressed. You're caged. You've caged yourself in comfort and convenience. And now your soul is restless. You think happiness is the goal. Wrong. Happiness is a byproduct. It comes when you're in alignment with who you're supposed to be. It comes when you're doing hard things that matter. It comes when you earn it. But you don't want to earn it. You want it for free. You think a pill or a therapist or some self-care routine will hand it to you on a silver platter. Happiness doesn't come from bubble baths and scented candles. It comes from conquest, from achievement, from progress. That's why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is cheap. It's a spark, a mood, a fleeting hit. Discipline is a fire that doesn't go out. Discipline is doing the work when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the difference between people who build lives worth living and people who rot in their own excuses. Think about it. When you lie to yourself, I'll start tomorrow. It's not that bad. Everyone's like this. You chip away at your own integrity. When you break promises to yourself, I'll go to the gym. I'll quit scrolling. I'll start that project. You destroy your own trust. You can't even rely on yourself. How do you expect to feel good when the one person you're supposed to trust, you, is constantly betraying you? That's not depression. That's the natural consequence of living without self-respect. Your standards are garbage. You tolerate mediocrity in yourself. You tolerate weakness. You tolerate excuses. You tolerate living below your potential. And then you cry about how unfair life is. Life isn't unfair. Life is brutally honest. It gives you what you demand from yourself. You demand nothing, you get nothing. Let's stop circling around and call it exactly what it is. You are living a bullshit life, and you're pretending it's depression so you don't have to face yourself. That's the raw truth. And let me say it again, so it burns into your brain. Real depression exists. There are people out there fighting demons they did not create. There are people who genuinely need medical help, professional support, therapy, treatment. That is real and it deserves respect. But that's not most of you. Most of you are not clinically depressed. You're just lazy, distracted, undisciplined, and addicted to comfort. That's not a mental illness. That's a lifestyle. And here's the ugly part. You defend it. You protect your misery. You hold on to your excuses like they're treasure. You argue for your limitations like being weak is some kind of identity you're proud of. You say things like, "It's not that easy," or you don't understand. Stop. I understand perfectly. I understand that you'd rather be comfortable in failure than uncomfortable in growth. That's all this is. You're not cursed, you're comfortable. Self-care isn't laying in bed all day scrolling on your phone. Self-care isn't ordering takeout 5 times a week because you're too lazy to cook. Self-care isn't another binge session on Netflix. That's not care, that's neglect. Real self-care is doing the hard things that actually make your life better. Eating food that fuels you, training your body, cutting out toxic people, learning skills, facing silence, building something. Discipline is the highest form of self-care, but you hate discipline, so you disguise your weakness as mental health. You don't need saving. You don't need someone to pat you on the back and tell you it's going to be okay. You don't need another distraction. You need to get honest with yourself, brutally honest. Look in the mirror and admit that most of your misery is your fault. That's not depressing, that's liberating, because if it's your fault, it means you can fix it. You can quit the bullshit job, just have a solid plan while you go about this. You can change your habits. You can take control of your phone instead of letting it control you. You can feed your body like it matters. You can train your mind like it matters. You can build discipline. You can demand more from yourself. You can rebuild your life piece by piece until it's one you're proud of. Fast forward 5 years. Keep doing what you're doing now. Keep waking up to the same soul-killing job. Keep scrolling for hours every day. Keep eating garbage. Keep surrounding yourself with people who hold you back. Keep lying to yourself. What does that future look like? Does it scare you? It should. Because that's where you're headed unless you stop pretending and start changing. Now rewind 5 years. Look at who you were then. Are you proud of the progress you've made since? Or are you basically the same person, stuck in the same place, making the same excuses? If that burns, good. Let it burn. Use it. Because nothing will change until the pain of staying the same outweighs the fear of change. You're not depressed. You're under-living. You're under-demanding. You're under-disciplining. You're living in a cage of your own making. And the key has been in your hand the whole damn time. So stop wasting your life. Stop numbing yourself to death. Stop defending your misery. You've only got one shot at this, and you're throwing it away on distractions, excuses, and fake suffering. Enough. Stand up, take ownership, change the bullshit, live a life that actually makes you proud, or keep lying to yourself and call it depression. The choice is yours. But don't you dare say nobody told you the truth because you just heard it.